Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vadhitamastuma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Are claims of self-realization real? Are claims of self-realization real? Any historical evidence on this? How do they verify those claims? Historical evidence means, have there ever been any enlightened people? Is that the question here? There's a whole, sampradaya, a lineage of the teachers and the disciple parampara is there. So, I don't know why this question arises anyway. What's wrong with the word self-realization is a very intimidating word, But understand that self is myself, and self-knowledge really involves, we will talk about this, really involves only giving up of the ignorance of the nature of superimposition. Because self is always shining, I is always shining. It's not that I have to make it shine, it has to, some flash or something like that. It's just, the I is always there. And the anatma is also there to recognize atma and anatma. And therefore to give the identification with anatma is what is the process of self-knowledge. And so, no claims of self, it means what? When people claim that they're self-realized, is that the question here? When somebody claims I am self-realized, then is it real? What is the question here? Claims of, so even scriptural claims of self-realization are real? Or people's claims of their self-realization are real? What is the question here?
With evidence problem. Evidence problem. It may be, I don't know.
We have not written this question. We have to interpret the question. We have to interpret Nobody wants to own up this question, is it?
No, I thought it could be evidence. Is there any evidence?
But it's a subjective thing. What evidence can be there? The evidence is basically in terms of the nature of the person. The Bhagavad Gita also describes the characteristics. In terms of way the person acts and talks and behaves, says Adveshta Sarabhutanam, Maitraha Karunaha. He is free from hatred towards anybody, he is friendly to all, he is compassionate. So that he is unperturbed in the painful situations or unelated, meaning that he is always composed and established in his own self. So these are the signs for us to see. Whether they are a proof of anything or not, but Lord Krishna describes this kind of signs which a wise person will display. Other than that, what is within you, only you know. There cannot be evidence that somebody is self-realized as far as any outsider is concerned. What's the evidence? So his question here is there. Does one really need to experience the mystic spiritual experience like high fever, etc., to realize self? So I do not know, whether that's the evidence that now I have high fever and so there is But anyway, there are all kinds of descriptions, all kinds of things are associated with knowledge, with realization, and a lot of romanticism is involved in this. And only when something unusual happens that realization is there. If you talk in a simple way, how can it be like Our Swami you say that you mean there's no tapasya required, there's nothing this required, this is all that you require. That's all that you require. Is the viveka and recognition. It's more a recognition rather than realization, really speaking. But anyway, since the person is not present, we are talking in the air, so there's no point in discussing that. Mm. Mm. Hmm. Well, okay, but if the person himself writes the dates, he alone can know that, and so we cannot write the dates, he can write. But then the people who claim that I had self-realization 4 p.m. on Friday on this particular day, etc., so this also is stated, and they celebrate that also every year, and so could be.
The best example is Swami Maharishi, the Ramana Maharishi, as a good self-realized soul.
What's the evidence?
He has given the evidence. He also has given a date.
Ramana Maharshi? He described a spiritual experience. But we understand that is more like a process than like a happening. It is not that suddenly something happens. It's a process of growth which culminates into the abidance, total abidance. So that abidance also is a process. As the obstacles keep on being removed, it ultimately becomes spontaneous, from impulsive to deliberate to spontaneous is a process. It's not that all of a sudden it becomes something. If something comes like that, it can go also, really. So, but so far we have not heard in Bhagavad Gita didn't describe some fear, etc., or Upanishad also doesn't describe, so that is our source book. Puja Swami explained life of contribution very clearly. What should be the stage of contribution in my journey towards 100% contribution? See, contribution in terms of karma yoga, you are an active person. Then the contribution can be that everything that you do is an offering to an altar. It can be the Guru, it can be Ishvara, it can be an altar. That whatever you do is offered at an altar. So there has to be an altar. There may be a social servant for whom the society is an altar. Ramana Maharshi says, Jagadaishadi yukta sevanam, serve the world with the attitude that it is Ishvara. And then ultimately, so then next stage is in terms of pursuit of knowledge. So ultimate contribution is that you give up total identification, with body, mind, sense complex. That's ultimate contribution, ultimate giving up. So contribution which is in terms of action and attitude. then slowly results into the contribution in terms of contemplation of self, results into the abidance in the self. That would be so karma yoga and then jnana yoga. That would be the process. This is about Sanskrit language. I heard that in the Sanskrit language does not have the words risk and luck. These words are also not used in any Vedas. Can you elaborate on this? How did they describe these words? Why they were not using these words? Risk and luck. So there is a Kagataliya Nyaya, for example, there is a Nyaya rule of Kagataliya, that a crow sat on the branch and the branch fell off, So who did that? Is it the crow, or the branch was going to fall anyway? See, crow is not heavy enough for the branch to fall. So crow sits on the branch fell. So did the crow break the branch? Or the branch was about to break and the crow happened to sit there? So this event, this can be called something like luck, some kind of a coincidence. So everybody accepts that. Our Swami used to say there is no luck, that it is always karma phala, and so it is, in that sense, I guess, this person may have concluded that Sanskrit language doesn't have these words. So there is no such thing as luck, meaning that grace is not distributed. And Swami was fond of saying this kind of a thing, meaning that you have to earn that. That's the whole idea. It's not that grace is something that comes to you. The Ishvara wakes up in the morning and says, let me distribute grace like that. Huh? Daivam there means presiding deity actually. But yes, our Swamiji also used to say the third factor, Prayatna, Kalaha, and then Daivam. But Daivam is grace of Ishvara, or grace of Lord. So then when you come to grace, how does that grace happen? Do you have any contribution as far as grace is concerned, or is it just given to you without your contribution? That's a matter of opinion. And so Vedanta, like Pujya Swami, would believe that nothing happens on its own. So grace also you earn, and it's the result of some past actions which fructifies. Bhakta say that if Ishvara also requires to do this, then where is the question of grace? I mean, it's just, meaning Ishvara can bless you without any reason. Otherwise, Ishvara just happens to be like a justice. So there are different opinions about the grace. But the bhaktas or devotees believe that Ishvara blesses, even without your deserving. And if it doesn't do that, what is the use of the Ishvara? If he only gives you karma phala, then what has he given you? So we the other day explained it this way, that Ishvara's grace is always there. Because Ishvara is of the nature of grace. But something is required on our part also, like opening the windows for the sunlight to come in. So sunlight is a grace which is always there for everybody, equally there. And on our part, we also need to do something. Open the windows of our heart for the grace to flow in, which means that some action, prayers, etc. are required on our part also to receive that grace. So Ishvara also is off the hook, and we are also, if Ishvara The Vedanta is the problem. Ishvara gives grace to this person, not to that person, then how can that be? So we say Ishvara gives grace to everybody, and you get it because you open. So then again it's a karma phala, etc. But understand that all this, anirvachaniya, I have heard this word. Anirvachaniya means that which cannot be explained, that is only this way and not that way. Nothing in the world can be explained, it is only this way and not that way. And so grace also is one of those things.
Swamiji, the word bhagyam can be used as in literature it is there.
Bhagyam is there, of course.
In the
Yeah.
not there, but in literature it is there.
No, scripture. Yeah, sadbhagya. Yeah. Jantunam. So, Anugraha is there also. Devanugraha hetukam. Jantunam janara janma durlabham. So durlabham also is there. Adrushta is unseen, but that is also a karma phala. Adrushta also is karma phala. But there is something called bhagyam. So bhagya devata also, bhagya suktam also is there. Yeah. There is a bhagya suktam in the Vedas. Kindly explain on Arsha Sandhi its need and usage with examples. This is like it's a test paper, It's need. Arsha Sandhi, it's called Arsha Prayoga. Meaning that whenever we find in the composition of a Rishi some sentence or some words which do not follow the Paniniya grammar. Meaning that when we cannot explain by the rules of Paniniya grammar a given use, then we call it arsham, meaning the privilege that a Rishi has. So sometimes sandhi is done where it should not be done by Paniniya rule. Sabrahma, what is Sabrahma? Sashivas Saharisendra. So Sendra means what? Sah Indra, that Visarga is goes away, and then Sa is Sendra is not according to Puranic grammar. Sabrahma Sashivas Sahari Sendraha Sokshara Swarat. Similar example. In Bhagavad Gita we find where Lord Krishna doesn't do the sandhi. Like the 11th chapter also. Priya Priyayaha. Yeah. So that usage is like that, where sandhi should have been there and is not there, should not have been there, is there. When used for this kind of, or sometimes sometimes Parasmaipada is used in Atmanepada, and this kind of uses are also there. All of that irregularities can be called Arsha Prayoga. Whether, what is it? Theme, whether there are swaras for Upanishad mantras and the Shanti mantra is the question. Whether there are swaras for Upanishad mantras and their Shanti mantras is the question. Okay. Yeah, there are. Some swaras are not available to us, but there are. So, like swaras for Ishavasya Upanishad available. Even Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also is chanted according with swaras by some Panditas. Taittiriya Upanishad we know all chant with swaras. So, All the Vedic texts have swaras, but in many cases they are not available. Like Kathopanishad, Kenopanishad, swaras must be there, but we don't have them. Somewhere we have Taittiriya Upanishad with the swaras. Ishavasya we have the swaras. So Shanti mantras, some of them do not have swaras, like the one that we are chanting. Apyayantu Mamangavi. If these swaras, they are not available to us. But Bhadran Karanebi, Sahanavatu, etc., they all have swaras. So we may have lost some of the things, on the way. This question is on gender, abuse and equality. Why females were treated not at par with men since beginning? Boys went to Gurukulam, but for girls there was no such formal education system. Yajnas and tapas were done for getting a son and never a daughter. Rishis and Munis have give boon that may you beget a son, but never a daughter. Gargi is among very few examples of females of past. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord says, Triyo Vaisha Sada Shudraha. Why was this parampara started or begun in this society then? This is reflected even today in present days after several millennia. Is it possible to justify it, or can we say it was a wrong tradition? A Kshatriya can kidnap women, as Bhishma did, or can have many wives as well. But then Draupadi had many husbands also, I guess there may be excess of women those days, That is why they justified more than one. The kings had 1 or 2 or 3 wives. So the ratio of male-female will be such that I guess the female may be larger in number than man. That may justify, more than one wife. This son business it all comes also from the some belief system that the departed souls have their place in the Pitruloka, or the world of mains, and some rites must be performed on the earth to benefit them so that they retain their place. And these rites can be because tradition is a patriarchal society, meaning that a girl gets married and goes to her in-laws' families. So girl no more remains part of this family, only the son remains part of this family, who then performs all the rituals after death as well as subsequently also. So son is qualified to perform those rituals. If you have a son, then those rituals will perform, then only they can retain their place in the Pitruloka, otherwise they will fall from there. So a son is required. Therefore, to continue the lineage or family line, because the patriarchal society. If it is a matriarchal society, it would be reverse. But in patriarchal society, the men perform these rituals because women leave when they go to some their in-laws' place, or a woman comes from other family. And all kinds of views about the Rajaswara, meaning the monthly period, and whether a woman is impure, etc. at that time, and so she is there not qualified to study Vedas because there will be interruption. Now, I don't want to justify it, but these are the kind of things that are said here. Whether or not that can be justified or not is a different thing, but so these are the reasons that are advanced in not including women for recital of Vedas, etc. Because that requires certain purity, and supposedly a woman is not pure for the 3 days in a month, etc. Huh? There are mantras for getting daughter also, I'm sure. Daughter was a very precious thing always. I don't think that daughters were. Women always were respected and even worshipped also. Mother figure always was. So, Matru Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, mother always was placed even before father in terms of the respect and reverence. There was no disrespect for women. If people show disrespect, it's a personal thing. But as far as the tradition is concerned, there is no disrespect for women. Women are always respected. And so mother goddesses were always there. And most important things are always, for example, Veda is called Shruti. Gayatri. So some of these things are the important deities, Saraswati, Lakshmi, all of these are the female deities. So they always had an equal place. Yeah, the worshipping the girls and also the married women, etc., was always there. Meaning the respect for women was always there, but as far as now some of these belief systems about her purity, etc., may have prevented in including them into certain things. So they must, because even Maitri also is and there are other Rishikas also of the Vedas. There are some who are the seers of mantras also. So so we believe that there must be an arrangement for them to study at home. It's not that they're illiterate or something like that, but there must be a system of studying. You see, the thing is, certain kind of lifestyles are not very conducive for women. Like all this Gurukulam, etc., and going out for bhiksha and those living conditions, etc., were not conducive for women. Also becoming a sannyasi is always a wandering monk, etc., not conducive for women. The way sannyasi is not given to them because traditionally a sannyasi is a wandering person. So some of these things are not conducive for the woman's personality. So it was always accepted she needs protection. And then so that's the reason why they were not put to those risks or they were excluded, however you describe it. Either you can say they were excluded from this or they were not subjected to the kind of hardships that are called for, that would be involved in those kind of lifestyles. But then, you can always use this kind of things and exploit them. There are always people who may take a certain rule and use it for their own purposes and to control and dominate. And I would not be surprised if these things are done. That you take a rule and to use it to your advantage and to, assert and dominate. I'm sure that has happened. Meaning that is, I cannot say that injustice was not done to women. I'm sure plenty of it was done. And that's very unfortunate. Yeah, some consolation is there. Because she's not trained in the Vedas, therefore she could not participate in rituals. Ritual can be performed only by the one who is initiated in the Vedas, and so one of the qualifications that you must know the karma that you are going to perform. And so Arthi, Samartha, and then Daksha, and then and then also Jnanam must be there also. Daksha, but knowledge is very necessary for performing a ritual. If she doesn't have the Vedic education, she doesn't have the knowledge, so that also deprived her of equal participation in the rituals. So consolation was that the 50% of the merit that a man gets goes to woman, to the wife. Because she is very much involved in preparation of that ritual. So 50% of merit goes to her. So that's what he said there. That must be consolation at least. Yeah. So,
Papa, she does, goes to
Papa, if he does, goes to him only.
no, and if she does, goes to him.
51 Papa her goes. That I did not know. That would fix him well. I guess that should be done. That would fix him properly.
Swamiji, full Papa goes to him.
Maybe it should go. I will agree with you there. That's what they deserve, I think. If moksha is not the result of karma, moksha is not, then why does he sankalpa? Dharmartha kama moksha siddhyartham, What it means is that moksha siddhyartham, for accomplish moksha, so whatever is required to accomplish the moksha, karma can create a condition for moksha to happen. If karma cannot directly give moksha, it can create conditions such as antahkarana shuddhi, such as the setup, of going to a teacher and creating all those conditions required for knowledge. In that sense, karma becomes also indirect means of moksha. If jnana is direct means of moksha, karma is a indirect means of moksha. You can say that. Yeah.
But isn't Swamiji bhakti, without the bhakti, the karma or jnana is kind of dry, so the bhakta can go get moksha too? Won't bhakta ever get a moksha?
No, bhakta will get jnana and get moksha. Why not?
Karma. You doing bhakta, you doing bhakti, not karma.
Bhakta, whatever he does is called karma only. Bhakta does something. These things, God's, name, it's called karma. What else is it? So the question is, number one, this morning we said, para, pashyanti, madhyama, vaikhara, the four stages of speech. That consciousness, unmanifest, manifest, and then the speech. So this was mentioned in the morning session. In what way can a thought be unmanifest? Is manifest thought the potential of a thought to occur in mind? What exactly unmanifest thought? You see, what is unmanifest is, the ornament is called the manifest. Before the ornament was created, it was in a lump of, gold. It was there, but not visible. It's called unmanifest state, the causal state. Similarly, thought becomes manifest in our mind. But anything that becomes manifest means effect. The effect always in the causal state first, and then becomes the effect. And therefore, manifest thought means the thought that we know, that's there in our mind, which we are conscious. Thought with which we are conscious is a manifest thought. And that has to be then effect. Effect must be in the causal state before it becomes the effect. So when a thought occurs in our mind, it is manifest state, and before that it will then manifest. Because thought has to come from somewhere, from cause to the effect, unmanifest to the manifest. So every thought that occurs in our mind, with which we are aware, are manifest thoughts. Manifest means that of which we are aware. And anything that is manifest must be in unmanifest state and in a causal state. Is thought supposed to be a manifestation of Prakriti or individual level, Prarabdha? Yes, karma. A thought occurs because as a result of karma. But thought is made up of Prakriti. So Prakriti is the material cause for the thought, and karma is the nimitta karanam, or the instrumental cause. The form of the thought is determined by karma. Thought itself is made of Prakriti, but its shape is determined by karma. For example, this ornament is made up of gold. Why does it have this form? Why does this chain, has only this much length and this design, and why should it, what could be involved in that? What determines the exact, configuration of this ornament?
It is idea or thought.
Idea in the mind of the goldsmith, isn't it? But why should goldsmith think like that? Because somebody ordered. So it is customer's desire that is responsible for a particular configuration of the ornament, isn't it? That's called nimitta karanam. Similarly, so there is material cause is gold, instrumental cause is that desire. In case of a thought also, what determines what's the next thought going to be? My karma determines that. What karma becomes fructified results into thought. Thought is made up of Prakriti. That's the material. But the actual form of the thought is determined by the karma.
Swamiji, for this model, can we use the word vasana?
Vasana is the causal state of the thought. You can call it unmanifest, unconscious, subconscious, unconscious. Yeah, subconscious is just to become conscious. Unconscious is much deeper than that, and so we don't know when it will become. So unconscious becomes subconscious, and subconscious becomes conscious.
This childhood unbearable pain goes to subconscious or unconscious?
Depends. It can be so deeply in there that perhaps it can become unconscious also.
So how does it make difference in the personality manifestation?
The unconscious will definitely influence the personality. Because it's there in the mind at some level and does affect the mood of the mind. I mean, a person just feels sad or somebody feels happy, sometimes for no reason at all. And so something is embedded inside which makes you what you are.
So this transference is from
Transference is a different phenomenon that when I see similarity, I went through some experiences less as a child. Some strong impressions have been left in my mind that I was treated in a certain way by my uncle, let us say. And I was hurt. And all those impressions are there in unconscious. Now I am 50 years old. When a similar event happens, somehow my mind goes back 50 years when I was a child and feel the same way as I felt as a child. Right now I am an adult and this person behaves in a certain way, triggers something which is inside. And I forget that I am this now. I become what I was when I was a 5-year-old child. And I act as though I am a 5-year-old child because I think that this is my elder brother or this is my uncle.
this seems to be happening after 4-5 years of marriage.
It can happen. What happens is, in marriage this can very much happen. In the beginning, so as the couple becomes more and more familiar with each other, more and more trust is developed, you feel very secure and safe with the person. Then your true nature comes out.
That is subconscious.
Yeah, what is inside? Or what I have been generally holding back. See, we interact with the world, I don't come clean. I only show myself the way world wants to see me. Because I want to be accepted by the world, I have sort of impression I am a Swami, that's how I must always show myself to be. But when we come in now, contact with, suppose a relationship with even a disciple, with a friend, somebody becomes closer, a bond is developed. When I know that I am safe, I will not be exploited, then I become more free to express myself as I am. Then those barriers which I was maintaining because of my reservations are gone, and my true nature, including all my pain, also comes out. So in the beginning, when I like a person, what is a positive transference, I think that there is nobody like that in the world, the greatest world in the world. And later on, then when this, I become free and open, and then the pain comes out, then I think this person causes that transference. Somebody caused me pain in my childhood. I see this person is doing that. And therefore, all negative transference happens.
How to handle that situation?
Very difficult. So, if you are if you become, the object of transference, then you must know that this is transference. Meaning that the way you are being accused, the way you are being treated is not, doesn't belong to you, it is something that is projected. So when I look at myself, I see no reason. Then naturally it is being projected, means transference. Then I have to be extremely patient and as kind as I can, not react.
The other person also may not be that mature to handle that situation or understand even that.
That's what happens. That's how all relations break. So when I become the object of I'm not mature and I also react. And then it goes that. Yeah, so 52% of marriages go like that.
How
Yeah.
elders should handle that situation?
Huh?
How elders should handle that situation? Because elders have to intervene.
Basically, elders should not react. Nobody should react. One should be compassionate regardless, as best as we can. As best as we can, we should try to be compassionate. There is pain that is talking. If the person is talking like that, it's the pain of the person that is talking. You sympathize with that pain and now respond to the person, respond to the personality behind that person.
We have to explain these phenomena to both the persons.
That has to be determined whether the person is ready to understand that or not. Many people are not just ready.
They think they are only right.
Exactly. Yeah.
For elders, it becomes extremely embarrassing and they don't know what to do.
As I said, if elders are somewhere dragged into it, it's not a matter of your coming, So as compassionately you can, and if you can win the trust of the person, then you have the opportunity to work with them. Not until then.
Even elders also must understand this phenomena.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. So these things are pretty very delicate, and you can see lots of conflicts happening in families because of a lack of maturity. Nobody has training. No, elders are away, but suppose you are in an extended family, you are part of the family, and things are happening in front of you, and then they involve you.
It's not the right moment to speak then.
Hmm?
Your own children or
When the situations calm down, then after.
No, when to speak, but they say you can't disengage, you cannot remain away, that's what I'm saying. Then how to get involved is something that you decide, yeah.
Counseling might help, no, Swamiji?
Very much, but nobody will go for counseling. This is Ganda, no doctor in India. Moment is, I'm not mad. You think that this is a mad doctor of a mad person. They always think that a psychologist is a doctor of the mad person.
Now they are accepted.
Slowly this is coming. Yeah, it's coming. Basically, more educated people accept this and then they realize and then they seek help. But still, majority of people are not ready to seek help. By all means, basically about 60% or 75, 80% of people require counseling really. Most people require counseling.
The classes are also for counseling.
No, Vedanta is for counseling. Vedanta can work provided a person can use this. He can become his own counselor. Vedanta is excellent counseling provided a person can become his own counselor. If I cannot be, when can I become my counselor? We can be objective with what's happening to me. If I am not, then I need somebody else who is objective and who can help me.
Is there any reason the female transplant comes more? No, I'm not.
More likely because female are more likely to be hurt and in their upbringing is likely that women may have gone through more painful experiences than men because of dominance and whatever it is. You see that the people always do. It's likely, but I don't have any kind of statistical figures or anything. I don't hesitate to make any statement because we are in the midst of a thing, and so once I go out, I'll be taken to task.
This is an emerging trend in the society now. These issues are emerging, which were perhaps till now.
Which are being recognized, being acknowledged. Let us put it there. They are always there. Now society is becoming open enough to acknowledge that these things are there.
We know about it because of the Swamiji and both the Swamiji's
Yeah.
exposure and children's exposure also.
Mm-hmm.
Explain to them this phenomenon.
Right.
Because of both the Swamijis, they can also recognize yes, this is
Mm-hmm.
momentarily that may explode, but
They can, yeah.
even depression also is one of the, in case of
Depression is a different thing. See, depression is the result of self-condemnation.
But then apparently there is nothing
To us. But if a person is a complex that I am no good, for whatever reasons, either you are born with a tendency or the world makes you believe that you are no good, that you are a failure. See, who decides that I am successful? I decide that I am a failure. And there is a tendency to always blame me for anything that happens. A tree falls there, I blame myself. So it becomes a habit, this self-blaming. It can build up into sadness and ultimately depression also.
their counseling doesn't help in depression.
Certainly helps. But depends on the degree. Sometimes you need some medication to bring the person to a point where counseling can help. Counseling requires participation of patient, where the patient also can, think and understand and, but if the mind in such a state that even that is not possible, then they generally give medication, bring them to a certain point, and then do the counseling. Yeah, family also. Yeah. Yeah. 80% includes everybody, 80% is my generous. You hardly see anybody who doesn't require counseling really. As I said, that's a very generous way of saying. No, you find hardly anybody who doesn't require counseling, meaning it will be more than 80%. But anyway.
Swamiji, the biggest problem is the patients who are depressed, who have psychiatric problems, they don't admit that they have it. That's why if the person knows that they have a problem, they will look for some answer. But the majority of those patients, they don't think that they have a problem, other people have problems.
It depends on the society. Like forward societies, like the Western societies, people are more admitting. But in a conservative society like ours, there is a lot of denial. All right, I guess we should conclude. The remaining question we'll take up tomorrow. So, Neeraj, would you like to sing something?